quilt roadies. Well, we're back in the beehive and we are pooped. It was an amazing week. Just to give you a little background, I have been blessed enough to be part of the Quilters Affairs staff, and so I ended up mentoring, helping 3 days of sit and stitch, which pretty much just includes a lot of encouragement and seeing what everybody is working on. And then the first 2 days of the Quilters Affair in Sisters, Oregon is I took Sue Spargo's class, The Trees, and it was predominantly based, if I don't sound real like I'm put together, I am not. I am not put together. I am just that kind of happy tired. But the class I took was on weaving. So Sue instructed us to come ready to do some weaving on trees, and I have shown in Instagram some of that, my fellow classmates, their creations, which were absolutely amazing. So I spent the very first day over on the other side of the mountain reconnecting with friends I hadn't seen in a bit, and then just acclimating to the climate. It is entirely different over there than here. We are moist over here. Over there you are dry, and the weather was pretty much, if you were to average it out, it was in the upper 80s most of the week, but cooled down at night. And we camped in the van the entire week in a lovely, lovely setting in Sisters, which is Creekside Park. It's a city-owned RV park right at the edge of town. So when you camp there, you're able to walk in and out of town, and the town was vibrating. Let me tell you, it is a tourist town. A lot of it is geared towards entertaining and appealing to those who want to step out of their lives into something entirely different, based on a Western theme. So it's on Highway 20 in the center of Oregon, and it would be a place you should plan a vacation to. Okay, back to my week. It was such a blessing to meet so many wonderful people, new friends, old friends, friends that are out here that I only know on the internet, and then friends that I've known for most of my time living in Central Oregon, which is over 30 years there. I packed to keep myself busy, and naturally I probably overpacked in a way, but I was better than I was normally. So I took all of my things that I needed for Sue Spargo's class, and I sat at a table of 6 of us. There were 6 groups of 6 in the classroom with Sue, and so inspiring. That's the best part of classes, is the inspiration that we get from each other, and the encouragement, and figuring out how to do something. And Sue is an absolutely lovely teacher, so I would encourage you, if you ever get a chance and you're interested in hand stitching of any kind, she is a wonderful place to start. So I had a great time. Penny, who I met for the first time at Cedar Ridge Quilt Shop, was sitting next to me, and Zahira was across from me, and then Sally, Janet, and Kelly shared the table next to us, and it was just perfect, just perfect. The evening programs, I attended the Hidden Truths evening program, and that was quite inspiring. If you plan on ever attending the Quilters Affair, include some of the evening programs. You will get a different level of connection to the teachers that come there. And the Hidden Truths, I think it was called, was a little synopsis from each of the teachers that people didn't know, and then they showed a quilt that they wanted to share with everybody, and that was lovely, absolutely lovely. I was really pleased at how wonderful the town looked healthy. Like there was a lot of new businesses and doors open to welcome just the throngs of people. It was good for the soul. It was good for the soul. The show, we already released the show video, but in this video I was able to, it's kind of backtracking, we're a little bit out of order because we wanted to get that show video out for everyone to enjoy who could not attend. But this video is more about what I bought, my haul, what I received in kindness. There's an interview with Scott Hansen and Guisseppe. I was really interested in bringing to you designers that you may not have sewn their patterns, and the fact that predominantly in the quilting world it is tilted more towards the female than the male designer, and these two are fabulous designers in the world, in our quilting world, and so I just wanted to give you a little bit of one-on-one time with them, and it was really lovely. We sat outside, and G was nice enough to take the time and video so that I didn't have to figure out how to do the camera, and we just talked about things that they were interested in, their lives. So I hope you hang out towards the end of this video and actually see that interview. Plus I did take some video of the school. Quilters Affair, the quilt show is always on the second Saturday in July. The Quilters Affair is the week before, and it is classes every day out at the local high school. And you truly, there is a class for every quilter, because it goes from the hand stitching to fabric dyeing to journal bookmaking to quilting, both traditional and modern. And then in the sit and stitch, what's really cool for me anyway is that if students have taken like a class on Monday and Tuesday, I've done sit and stitch on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, so they'll bring those projects to continue to work on, and I get to see what everybody, it's kind of like having a live commercial. So it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun with old and new friends. Okay, so what what happened here? I have to show you this. One of the participants of Sit and Stitch was working on a project that I could not stop looking at her fabric because all I could see was hexies. And so she gave me some scraps. But look at this. It's just a hoot and a half. Isn't that funny? All I could see was hexies, and then she had some, oh, this is just going to be, Those owls are hysterical. And then she had leftover pieces from a quilt, so I was gifted those, which I am very excited about. I also, Stitchy Kindness. So I got to see my Twisted Sisters, which in years past, if you followed these videos, the Twisted Sisters, although one was decided to take a cruise during this time, but three of them were there, and it's kind of like you all come together, and it's this just melding of love, and love of each other and love of quilting. And so they brought me, look at this table runner. Is this not fantastic? I just love it, because they will spend a week. This is how awesome this is. They started coming when their mother would bring them. Yeah. And they have continued to come and enjoy, and they stay, like they're still there for another week, sewing their brains out. And then I got this awesome travel bag. Look at that. I am really intrigued by bag making, and I think that's going to be in my future, to try and, I just love this, try to make some bags, because I was watching some friends of mine making rice bags, and I know I'm gonna do that. I did spend some money on Kelly Ray's stuff, and you will know Kelly Ray. She is an artist who now has, not only is a licensed artist for beautiful decor products, but now she's doing fabric. And look at this t-shirt. This is like the design from her poster, and I'm not going to unroll this, but the poster was printed onto a panel also, and aren't those colors just amazing? And this is available at the Stitching Post. She also had a booth out in the backside of the Stitching Post on Quilt Show Day, and I love getting the Leaning Tree cards in a box, and so there was a whole box of Leaning Tree that were her designs, and so I got this box of cards. It's filled with all kinds of, birthday cards, get well cards, thinking of you cards, with such beautiful, beautiful, kind messages. And since we are still on the Kelly Ray bus here, I bought some stickers for my journaling that are her designs. They are all just lovely. Lovely sentiments, beautiful. Follow your joy. And I bought a little plant for a plant, and look at that. That's gonna go here in the beehive. Now, her fabric line is just gorgeous, just gorgeous. A heart-led life, and I bought the layer cake. Nothing but happiness there. Nothing but happiness. My friend Zale gave me this fabric because she knows I love music fabric and fabric with words. I also received, look at this. It's a coaster and I received a little baggie with some twine to try it myself. It doesn't look hard, but I just wonder, you probably have to use a walking foot, and it looks like it's just, you just wrap this. And then a little luggage tag. I'm going to be traveling in style, and a little coin purse. Gotta love the bees. Gotta love the bees. And I know I came away with so much kindness, so much kindness. So Susie Toronto designs this coaster. And another luggage tag for, you know, because we got to be traveling. My sister was there with her girlfriend, and she brought me, she had just come back from Europe, and she brought me from Bernkastel 2 thimbles for my thimble collection. And they are heavy duty. I have to say, they are heavy duty. That's gonna, I'm gonna be able to push a needle through 5 layers of fabric. Easy, easy peasy. Oh, and then, isn't that great? I can't decide where I want to hang this. But isn't that great? So much stitchy kindness. Well, since I was with my sister and her girlfriend, we had to shop sisters. I'm with my sister and sisters. We had to shop sisters. So I bought a pair of shoes. Yep. And I could not pass up this purse. I mean, it's got an adjustable strap, but wait till you see it. I mean, really. Is that not amazing? And the little decor that's hanging off of it is a leaf and a flower. This is pretty darn amazing. And it has, you know, it's just a real organizational thing. And this is by Chala. It's a Chala purse. Amazing. So I'm going to look pretty cool when I'm shopping. I did buy some postcards from the postcard. One of the things, fundraisers that's done with the Quilters Affair and the Sisters Outdoor Quilt Show is fabric postcard fundraiser. And so they not only ask that each teacher make a postcard for auction, a silent auction, they also ask anyone to make a postcard and send it in as a donation. And there is one woman who, Barbara is her name, that sent 100 postcards. She makes them all year long. And they are just wonderful. And some of the, oh, see, I have one of her postcards. She's from Michigan. So I bought this postcard, and people frame them or send, you can send them if you put them in an envelope. I wouldn't send them straight through the mail, but they are wonderful gifts. And it's for the Wish Upon a Card. And so I bought this postcard. That's all fabric that's sewn and then satin stitched around. And this postcard was made by Kathleen in Germany. Well, it's going to live in my sailing room. Yes. And then I bought cards for 3 of my girlfriends here, who I'll be seeing later today. And This one is also by Barbara in Michigan. I mean, this gal makes like 100 postcards. This one is by Betty in Germany. And this one is by our friend Barbara in Michigan. So if you're inclined to donate a card to the Sisters Outdoor Quilt Show, it is a fun project to do and to design. And on Stitch Roadies, my YouTube channel about cross stitch, I will be showing a framed postcard that I bought that just piqued my interest so much. So I'll be showing that on Stitch Roadies. I did a lot of, I did some other retail spending while I was, because I saw that, you know, well, the brain is gone. The brain is absolutely gone. Stitch Folk. Okay, on Stitch Folk, I bought this shirt, and that had arrived. G and I went antiquing for a little bit, and I found this beautiful little, I don't know what, I think it was a toothpick holder, but I'm turning it into a pin cushion. It has a little bit of a lavender tint to it. And then I found a new box for my collection on the Harmony boxes, and this is called Lovebirds. And I just absolutely loved the history of this one, because they're sitting on a park bench and there's all kinds of initials carved in the bench, and when you open it up it says Sticky and Tonkin, PIP. And when I did research, the designer, both of their pets ended up passing on the same day, and their names were Sticky and Tonkin. And PIP stands for Play in Peace. I just love these little boxes. I just love them. They make me smile. I mean, all the little animals are hugging each other in this Lovebirds. So, okay, well, now you get to relax a little bit, sit back, and enjoy the interview with Scott Hansen and Guisseppe. Scott Hansen is from Blue Nickel Studio, although blue is not his favorite color. And Guisseppe is from Juicy Juice, and I wanted to show you, I got a few fat quarters of his latest fabric, which was called Sleuth. So we have the lie detector fabric, fingerprint fabric that swirls on fingerprints, and the splatter fabric. Isn't that great? Okay, I think we're done. Okay, stay tuned for that interview, and thank you so much. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I know I can go on, so I hope that this inspires you to get some fabric out and just kind of start sewing it together, because some of those modern quilters, they just go for it, and I was so inspired to kind of break out of my box a little bit. So we'll see what's in the future for us. Take care. Love you guys. Roadies, here we are in Sisters, Oregon, and I've decided today's a great time to bring two of our favorite teachers. This is the second year for you, Guisseppe, Juicy Juice if you don't know, and Scott Hansen, Blue Nickel Studio, and we're going to ask them some personal questions.
Uh-oh. You didn't say it was me personal, dear.
Personal questions. So, well, first of all, I see, are these new tattoos?
This is the first oldest one.
First oldest one.
Newest one, Rob did. And it's
Yes,
Really?
Rob.
I want to. Oh,
It's on my. You can see it if you.
okay.
Is he a tattoo artist too?
Rob,
Now
yeah,
he is.
started.
No way, I didn't know
Yes.
that.
So
Oh, wow.
this is his number 13
Oh my
tattoo.
Oh
Holy
my
cow.
gosh, that is so
That's really,
cool.
it's really good.
Not the frog, just the house.
Wow.
Yeah,
This is number 13.
it's like a troll or a gnome house or something.
It's a mushroom house.
Mushroom
And he
house.
did it on my new studio table in my kitchen.
Oh my gosh.
Did you cry?
No.
No.
You had
The
enough
table
practice.
was hard, actually. The table was hard and not very comfortable.
But it wasn't painful?
well, it's
My
a
son
tattoo.
has tattoos all
A
over
tattoo is painful. It's like if you can sit through a tattoo, you can sit through any meeting at work. They're about the same.
How about you? Any tattoos?
I have some little ones. I don't have any that are as big as Scott's, but I have one little one here, a little one here, a little one here.
Yeah, you're going to have to call up Rob.
Yeah, oh, yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
He's practicing.
Yeah, it seems like he's doing
We
pretty
were
well.
going to
so.
fly him up to my house and invite friends from church and just anyone who's local to come.
Don't do it.
Just line them up.
So is he?
hilarious.
He's still quilting though. I see
Oh,
him
yeah.
still
Yeah, for
quilting.
sure.
Oh, yeah,
but,
yeah.
But the tattoo thing is just a.
He has a friend in California that in his hometown and he started doing it.
Okay.
He likes it.
Well, that's
It's
enough
kinda
about
simple.
Rob.
Yeah.
We don't care
Rob.
about Rob.
But that's my tattoo. That's my latest tattoo.
That's
so.
good. So, one of the things I'm curious about is when did you each start quilting?
You first answer that.
Yeah, sure. I started quilting in about 2008. I was living up in Seattle, and I was a knitter and lived across the street from Hancock Fabrics. So I'd go in there to get my yarns, and I've always sewn. My grandmother taught me how to sew when I was a kid. So I kind of just was always drawn to the fabrics in the quilt shop, in the quilt area, and one day I just bought some fabric and brought it home.
So, did your grandma teach you to knit?
No, I learned how to knit just from like a random brochure. Like it just had like a thing of like how to knit.
And how old were you when you decided?
It was not that far long before quilting. I probably started knitting in like 2007 or so. In 2008, I started quilting. Yeah.
I follow this guy on Instagram, the Quilting Doctor.
Yeah.
And he takes. Do you follow him?
Yeah.
He does hexies all over the world. Wherever he goes, he's traveling with his hexies.
Yeah,
I just
totally.
love that.
It's cool.
How about you? First quilt.
First quilt I was 14. Now here's how old I am. So it was 1978 or so. Or close. I think it wasn't 14 anyway. It was about 14. So that's because I liked old stuff and my parents liked new stuff.
Oh.
Well, new in the 70s. So
Well, that's kind of
paneling,
interesting.
Shag. Not they didn't have shag carpet, but everything avocado. And I liked history. It was 70. So it was
Did you have an avocado refrigerator too?
Harvest Gold.
Oh, those are the worst. I think.
Everything was yellow.
I
Everything
know.
was yellow. Mom painted the house. One year she painted the house lemon yellow, and then the rowboat lemon yellow. Everything was lemon yellow.
Oh.
I really don't like yellow.
Yeah, it's not your favorite color. You don't design with yellow.
I like it now, but growing up, I was really quite sick of yellow. So, but I made that. I was 14. I never touched another one until I was married, and one of my grandmas was in a nursing home, and I made a lap quilt for her. And then I got a book to teach myself because no one made quilts in my family.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
And my mom she sewed all our clothes. She sewed like crazy. I learned to sew. But she helped me make this quilt, but we didn't know what we were doing at all. We had no idea. And it was really a comforter, not a quilt. But it was a crazy quilt because I liked Victorian stuff.
So was it quilted on a machine or was it tied?
Tied with acrylic yarn. It still exists because there's a lot of polyester. But there's also taffeta and things that faded away a long time ago. So it was just left or else. It was really weird.
Yeah, the first quilt I ever saw was made by G's father.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for my oldest son when he was little. And I wish I had known the power of what went into quilting. Like I know now all the work that goes into it, but back then it was a blanket and he loved it to death. It's shreds, but I think I might have tried to save it, like keep patching it, because you can keep patching quilts and stuff, but I didn't realize that. But he was the one that when I first saw that, it was great. So when did you start teaching?
I started teaching in I don't even know, like 2000. maybe like a decade or so ago, about? Yeah, like a decade or so.
And this is your second year.
My second year here, yeah.
I remember the year he came, where he came with a broken bone.
I've heard
I
many
remember
This
stories.
was my first year.
No, that wasn't your
They're
first
already
year.
hearing
I've heard stories. I heard stories last year about your broken arm.
That's because
Just
I
gonna
was on
say, I've heard
Oxycontin.
stories.
And I was loopier than I knew. I did not know that.
Yeah, but all of those events that happen here, like they're going to be talking about that one lady that had the rotary cutter injury this
Sure,
time.
yeah, it's definitely a memory.
It's just part of
Yeah.
it. It's just part of the whole event. Is not just about fabric. It really is about the people that come.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And you two obviously draw people to your classes because everyone's excited. But you're a small population in the world of quilting because you're both male. Are you? Yeah.
Yes.
So, we don't have that many male quilters.
More than there used to be.
More than there used to be, thank goodness, because it brings a whole different look to, like, your latest line of fabric.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't think of it in terms of my latest line of fabric is, for context, is about a mystery in a house, and there's a detective who's solving. It's basically a true crime collection.
Right.
It's interesting. I don't spend too much time thinking about being a guy in this industry, really, because I just try to be a designer and a person in our industry, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I've heard that. I can understand, because it's not. It's an atypical theme for a fabric collection, and I wonder. I don't know if it's about if I got to that theme because I'm a guy or because I'm just a weirdo or whatever the reasons are. I feel like it's just because I'm a weirdo. I don't know that it has much to do with the guy thing personally.
You probably got away with it because you're a guy.
That might be possible. That might be possible.
Yeah, because
that might be possible.
it probably is that people are thinking, okay, that makes sense.
Well,
to them.
and I've also I've done weird stuff before. It's not like it came out of left field. Like I've had collections that were a little bit off the beaten path. Like I did one about the government conspiracy to cover up the existence of extraterrestrials.
Out.
Yeah, that was my second
I
collection.
did not know that was the theme of it.
That was what Declassified was about. So
wait till
I've
you
done
see the quilt
X-Files.
that I'm bringing for the
thing
evening.
for tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
No, wait till you see the quote I'm bringing.
Oh no,
It's-
wait till you see mine.
Mine actually is a surreal, mystical thing.
Oh, I can't wait. See, this is another reason that you need to come to the Quilters Affair, because there's a lot more than just piecing two pieces of fabric together. It is about...
That's an understatement.
Yeah, it's about the stories, the relationships, the things that you learn about people that you had no idea. So you need to put that on your bucket list.
Amen.
Yes. So the rest of the year you spend designing. I know that you're prolific in trying to think of.
Well, I have a full-time job besides this. This
Yeah.
is his full-time job. So he's different than I am because I work for Costco on the side.
I know. I always think about you whenever I go into Costco.
It's a great place.
And we love
Executive membership. Anyway, but I like that job, but it also pays. I don't have to worry about. I never have to worry about insurance. I never worry about my house payment, so I can do it when I want to. And after COVID, I have been prolific. The last couple of years, I've been kind of. But I think it's building up again. So.
Right.
So.
Do you think COVID enhanced your creativity, or not being in relationship with other quilters was made it more difficult?
That's an interesting question.
I've never really been in direct relationship with quilters anyway. Most of mine's been online or when I go out to things. So 2019 was my busiest year. I was everywhere. I was really busy, and I actually kind of liked the break after that because But in 2020, more than just COVID happened to me. We moved. My dad died. And I had a lot that's happened.
Right.
So in my life, it wasn't just COVID. It was a whole bunch of things, and I'm kind of just still coming out of that. But I'm happy because I think it got me time to think about some things. And I don't know where the future is, but it's nice to be back here.
Yeah.
This year feels normal. Last year we were here in person, but it didn't feel quite normal. But this year feels like normal. People, and like you said, and the people part is just, to me, this event is like being a family reunion, Christmas, and summer camp. And maybe that's it. Those three things together. It's just
Without the fighting.
Oh yes, no, yeah. No one's fights in my classes. I don't know about yours.
And
But
no, so far so
Yeah.
good.
So it's like a family reunion, but without the drama.
yes, yeah, it's because we all like the same things, and if we don't agree on things, we don't talk about it, right?
Yeah.
We don't just bring it up
Yeah.
anyway.
But I know you had a move to a lovely place.
Oh, I did, yes.
Yes.
And that was a blessing,
So
for sure.
that move, because we move fairly regularly, but it does inspire some creativity.
It's peaceful there. And
Yeah.
I love it, so.
And I don't, I could be totally talking out of turn, but I think, and you can tell me if this is true for you. I feel like you need that quiet break
I like the quiet.
to make all of the stuff happen. Is that true for you too, or are you like 100% in?
I'm pretty much. I mean, for me, it kind of is. I pretty much just react to the environment that I'm in. So we were living in New York City during the pandemic, and I've bounced around to like a couple of different cities around the country and stuff like that. We were living in New York during the pandemic, and then like May, June-ish, we had enough of this tiny apartment in New York, and we gotta leave. So we went to Maine.
I
And
was
so-
surprised to hear that because I thought you were still in New York City.
Yeah. We've been up there now for it'll be 3 years, I think, in August. Yeah, at least permanently. That's when we moved up. And so it was a weird thing because I've never lived any place as quiet as Maine. And we live in Portland, Maine. Like,
I love the quiet.
yeah,
the quiet.
it was the first couple of weeks. I was like, oh, I'm not gonna be able to sleep here. Like, I didn't realize how soothing the sound of like people
cricket.
screaming or like
Sirens.
like sirens and ambulance sirens, stuff like that. I didn't realize how soothing. Like I'm home. Like it's just such a good feeling. I didn't realize that while I was living in New York, but when I got to Maine and it was just dead quiet every night, I was like, oh my gosh,
God,
this
those
is like
crickets,
insane.
those darn
I
crickets.
hear owls. It's just the
I
owls.
know.
I wish we had owls in Portland. It's just a little too like we don't have anything like that. It's still like it's not a city, you know.
It's a
Well,
quiet.
it's not New York
It's
City.
not New York City for sure.
It's a quiet-
It's very quiet, and
Country.
it's grown on me a lot. We'll see. We're moving back to New York eventually, so we'll see how it goes.
Because
maybe,
what?
now you
miss
won't be able to
you
sleep.
miss the sirens or what?
No, it's not that I miss this. My family's there, so that's nice. And my partner's an artist, so New York City is a good place to be for that kind of
Right,
a career,
right.
right?
It would be good for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's things that I miss. Like it'll be nice to be able to like go to a restaurant at like 8:30 and not have to worry that they're closing at 9. Stuff like that'll be
That
nice.
does happen in my town.
Yeah, like I'm looking forward to that.
The shades are
Actually,
going down.
Most
Yeah.
things, a lot of things are closed on Sunday. Like, really? I mean, I don't mind it actually. I don't like. It's kind of, to me, it's quaint, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, I don't need to go.
Yeah.
So,
It, we've lived in several different environments, and each one, and just like traveling in the van, there's an intention to moving around the van that we don't get in our home. It's you have to move softer, quieter, stealth-like, because otherwise you bump into something, or so the environment creates the emotion of the moment. I guess that is the thing. Is it? So I don't know if you should go back to New York. Although I totally get.
was raised in that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I grew up there, so
Yeah,
it's, like,
and I
super
totally
normal
get
to
the
me,
family
yeah.
because that's why we're on the other side of the mountains for family. Chasing grandkids is what we did. We ended up over there. So, do you, to get back to quilting, Scott, do you design a pattern first or choose fabrics first?
It's usually I'm drawing a sketch, and some of those just draw a sketch lightly on paper and it'll be loose, and then I grade it out on graph paper, and then I fill fabrics in after that. And it's usually always the design first, and then the fabrics. And I found when I have a good design, any fabric works in it.
Oh, that's interesting.
And I noticed that and I don't know, I like to think all my designs are good, but some are better than others, I think. And so if it's a strong design, I think most fabrics work as long as you do, well, it depends how you want to do it. So if you were Australian style, value doesn't matter as much. It's just busy. And that's what I tend to do. But also, I think they have that American sensibility where you have a little bit of this quiet space to read. So I try to do that. But some of my older quilts don't have any of that. And I like them just as much. It just depends. So But that's how I do it. I draw first, usually, and then I add the fabric later. And then what happens is I get the fabric, like, oh, this is working out really good. And usually it's that. Actually, that's the ones you see published, I guess. So if it doesn't really good, you don't see it published, right? So you won't see it. It'll go on the back or something. So. But and then I like, and then like I just did a new quilt for the show called my balance quilt from last year.
Yes.
It's in the shop now. It's super colorful. The one in the show is all batiks and quiet and Alaskan colors.
Oh, interesting.
Totally different look.
Totally. But that's what appeals. You know, I've been
like-
trying to get into I think I'm going to have to stop being part of the staff so I can get into your trees class. I've just bound and determined that's the only way it's going to happen for me, because I've been trying to do this trees class. I actually even bought his postcard that was just one tree, because I said that's probably the closest I'm going to get to the trees quilt. You know, I have a friend who's in the class this year, and I said, you know, they must look at it and say, oh no, we don't want Anna to be in Scott's class. That will be a mixture of disaster of personalities, because nothing will get done. And so then they schedule me those days. But someday.
You should ask, not schedule.
Yeah.
Do you ever not teach? Or do you teach every day?
Well, like this year, they use me Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, because, you know, I'm opposite Colleen. And I stopped teaching classes that were about a quilt or a project. I'm just doing sit and stitch. Because I'm not a designer. I am a customer. And so I will take someone else's product that isn't coming and teach it, like wool, applique, or I've done watercolor, you know, just whatever is in the moment. But it's not my own design. That is a whole different ball game, because you're adding a third party into that, and it makes it more challenging, because it's like a three-way relationship, you know. Whereas you know what you're designing, what fabrics you want to do, and you implement it. I have to go to that, because I'm not a designer, I have to go to that person and say, can you send this, and I think this will work, and I'm going to do this. And so I find that sit and stitch this year, just doing that is nice, is really nice. But
Have you done that many times before, or is this your first time doing that?
no, I've done it
Many times before,
yeah. Because I used to live right around the corner from Jean's, so it was just,
right,
I
yes,
was cheap labor.
Yeah, cheap labor for sure.
No room and board, just a salary.
Yeah.
No travel expenses.
Yeah, no travel expenses, no room expenses. This is a totally
It's the
different
best
ball
bit in
game
heaven,
since we moved. It's a different ball game. So someday I think I will be able to get a Scott's class, because they're going to look at that book and they're going to go, hey, what are we doing here? You know? So how about you? Is it the design first or the fabric?
It depends on. It kind of depends on like what I'm working on. So if I'm designing a quilt, it's the design first, and then the fabric comes second. If I'm designing a collection, then obviously, you know, like I'm not really. I'm thinking about what the quilts will be like a little bit, but I'm thinking more about just like fabric usability and figuring out what I want to kind of do with the fabrics. So. They kind of, I don't know, it's one of those things. I feel like they're so like intrinsically connected that it's hard to even identify like what happens when
do
or
both. I mean, when I design my 2 lines of fabric, I didn't really think about this quilts form.
You just went for the fabric and
I just design. I mean, but I did batiks. It's a lot different process.
Yeah, very different process for
It's
sure.
it's a very organic process. You really don't know what you're going to get, because you design something in black and white. You send it to Bali. They do the chops. You give them color combinations, and when you give color combination and you're doing batiks, things don't always come out the way you plan them. For sure. Because there's a blending. It's not just stamping and inking from a machine. It's hand done and hand dyed.
Right. And I know in the cross stitch world, which I'm involved in also, that there's a whole thing about the dyes, that the next run of dyes may not be by the same as the first run of dyes. And there, I can imagine the quilter maybe didn't buy enough fabric and wanted a yard more of that. It might be a totally different.
Well, even for batiks, I mean, even like 1 yard to the next yard
sometimes
can be really different
from
one another.
And there's little idiosyncrasies, which I kind of like about batiks.
That's what's great about it.
there's a little bit of a rusticness to it, and I like that part of it. It's not precision.
So what do you like to do if you weren't quilting? What do you do with your free time?
I like to be outside a lot. Yeah, in the summertime, that's been the best part about being to Maine, is discovering, like, I've always liked hiking, but I didn't know that I'd like camping, because it's not really typically a very Sicilian thing. We don't really go camping much. We don't, like, have tents and bonfires and things like that.
No.
So I didn't grow up
Bonfires
doing
in
that.
New York City don't really work.
Yeah, it doesn't really work so
like
good.
dumpster
Yeah.
fires.
Yeah, it's a little different.
Yeah.
So yeah, when we moved to Maine, like Steve had gone camping before a little bit, and I was always kind of curious about trying it. And so we went, and our very first camping trip that we did, we went to Baxter State Park, which is a state park up in Maine, and it's we say it's up in the numbers. It's like really high up in Maine, like where it's like there's like some of the towns don't even have names. They're literally just like numbered areas.
What?
Yeah, it's like way
The
high.
towns are numbers?
They're like numbered, like kind of. I don't want to say districts because then it sounds like it's Hunger Games, but it's not quite like that. But it's like that idea that it's like.
No wonder you want to go back to New York City.
It's not quite like that, but it's way up there. It's way up. So it's like from Portland, Maine. It's another like 5 hours probably from there. So, and so at our first camping trip, we did like a 5-mile hike into the middle of the woods, and it was just him and I in the middle of the wilderness in Maine for I think we were in that for 5 days or something like that, and. At first, I was like really intimidated and freaked out by that.
I would be a little nervous, and I'm a country boy. That sounds far out there.
Well, I'm very much a big believer, and if I'm going to try something, I'm going to really try something and see if I like it. And so we were just like, let's rip the Band-Aid off, and it ended up being like it was the best week.
And so you
ever.
like
and now
camping.
I was like, it's
You're
the
all
best
about
thing
camping.
ever. Yeah. So
We're all about camping.
It's I figured that
Yeah.
like you could relate to
trailer.
that.
We call that.
We
call that.
Well,
teepee
our
Tin
honeymoon.
teepees, what we call
Yeah, well, our honeymoon we camped. We've been camping our whole lives. We've had every manner of camping vehicle that exists, except for a Class A. We never went big. It was always small. Always small.
I love just like the drive up camping too, though. Like if like not you can't like sometimes that's the thing that's great about Maine. It's like on a weekend, if you want to go camping this weekend, you can just find a site and just drive.
You don't
and
have to go camping. You're practically in camping.
You could just go in your backyard, probably.
You just open your door and pretend you're camping.
It's true, actually.
Yeah.
It can sound
I
like.
mean,
But actually, and I say I grew up that way too. Our camping would be in the back of a truck in the backyard, but you could hear the same sounds. The cool thing is that birds sound different in the morning and night than they do during the day. And it's a sweet sound, and the robins do this weird thing at night that's kind of ethereal. It's like, it's just like, I don't have to camp. So I can sound like that.
Right. You have the best of all camping.
I
worlds.
wouldn't mind. We want to get a camper sometime.
Yeah. It's different. I never go camping without stitching. Some manner of stitching.
Oh yeah.
Because if you, as he knows, if having ADHD, if I am stuck 2 minutes in a spot and I don't have something to do, that's not going to be pretty.
I'm wired that way too.
Yeah.
I probably have that, but I've never gone and got that diagnosed.
Yeah, oh
I
man.
have something in my head.
It's like, in fact, when I was packing to come down here, I had a whole pile packed. And I thought, really, realistically, you're not going to be able to touch all of these things. You have to give up that nervous, what if I
always do that. I'll have the stitching, a journal, and this thing here, and a book to read, and that, and that, and that. And I get 2 things. No, 1 thing back.
You're right. And then you have to haul it all back.
Right.
Yeah.
And we're going to Iceland next year, so Lord willing, we're going to Iceland. We're trying to. We want to. But I have to only bring a little bit.
That's going to be hard.
It's going to be hard. I think it's just going to be a journal. I don't think I'm bringing stitching, which I'm not sure I'm happy about.
Yeah,
I might bring a little bit.
Do some hexies. Those are just a little pouch and
I
little
think I'm going to do
paper.
cross stitch probably for doing it. It's less. Just floss and
well,
just
we know.
floss and
Yeah. Do you cross stitch?
I don't. I love the look of it, but no,
Yeah.
I don't.
I used to cross stitch before quilting.
Yeah.
It's faster to quilt though. That's kind of why I cross stitch.
Yeah. I'm doing 56 count.
What?
I don't know what that means.
This is like 56
Tiny.
count. This is
Really?
like 56
So you show me the
count.
thing with the little X's.
Yeah.
Okay,
You make them that small? I mean, I make tiny stuff, but that's ridiculous.
No. It's,
No. This is 14.
So what does the count refer
So
to?
the bigger the number, the smaller the space between those holes is.
So it has to do with the base cloth has to do with the count as well.
Yes.
Like the
Yeah,
item
so
cloth that
yes.
you're using,
14
right? Okay.
14 holes in a stitch, in an inch, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
oh wow,
she's doing
that's
56
tiny.
holes in one stitch.
Yeah.
Jeez, that really is like this.
Yeah,
It is basically
yeah,
just
I'm
fabric.
telling you, it's
not
like-
even Aida cloth. It's just fabric at that
Right,
point.
right. Well, and see,
Over one thread?
yeah, well, I'm going
threads.
over 2 with 1 thread.
Still, that's
So a single
20.
thread. Is
A
that what that
single
means?
thread going over 2
2
holes.
threads.
Okay. Okay, got it. So you're going like that kind of. Okay, got it. Okay.
So it's the kind of stitching that you have to do totally by yourself. You can't have music on or
You need a magnifying
yeah.
glass.
You need a 2 sets of glasses. I have one set on
Do you
top of
really?
the
Yeah.
other, and then a magnifier, and then no interruptions, no talking. I can't do it with
Is that for
friends.
me, for present?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
because I went down.
Yeah, you hear that? Yeah.
Yeah, he said, yeah.
Show the camera that.
Oh, this is just, so this is a melee of stuff I've just been doing.
It's
So
really cute.
this I made up.
Pretty.
That's
You
a-
made this up?
Well, I took from a vintage book, and I took elements out of it and higher. So
Upside down. We got to go this way to show the everything right side
Oh.
up.
but this here, I took vintage elements and then I started this part is a vintage element and there's little white arches, but then I started messing around with it and then I just started adding things.
Why aren't
So,
you designing cross stitch patterns?
That's a good
I guess
question.
I'm going to probably eventually.
Yeah, that's really cool.
This
So-
looks like a carpet.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, this is actually for my wife's dolls.
I was gonna ask if it was for the
Oh!
dollhouse or something like that.
It's for my wife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, but these other ones are not my design. So this is a fat quarterly stitch
Right.
thing from last year. This here I made up myself. These were based on some elements from some free things online or some. This was like from some Russian online thing I
favorite
saw.
one. I like
Yeah, but I was just doing. I was getting rid of floss. So someone found out I did stitching, so someone gave me a whole bunch of old kits and stuff, and then they were ugly kits, but the floss was decent. So
Right.
and then this here I made up. I took elements of some pattern together. This one, the heart, I took it and I added all the rest of this. I combined things on that.
It's
This is
so
two different
really
things.
pretty.
pretty.
Yeah,
You
so
can
very,
tell
very
how
cool.
creative you are.
But I'm thinking for this section here, these are all going to get cut up and added to things.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But this here, I think I'm just going to do freeform.
So 56 count. I mean, Scott, really.
This is 14 and 56 count. I can barely see. I
can't even picture
I have
what
to
that
take
would
my.
look like.
I
It
can't
looks like
either.
a shirt.
I guess, yeah.
In fact, I have to take these off to see this now because my bifocals is the
Yeah. Well,
opposite.
the reason I started it was because I thought, if not now, in a year I might not be able to. You know, when you
Well, yeah.
decide, you got to do some things in your life.
It's a goal, yeah. I don't really have that goal.
just to experience it.
Are yours your own patterns? Or are they patterned? Like,
Oh no,
there's
no,
like
I'm
a
not
whole
a
world
designer.
of like
Yeah,
design
I'm the sit and
patterns.
stitch
Yeah,
person.
right.
Yeah,
So that goes with cross stitch too.
Yeah.
I
Okay,
actually
got it.
just talked to Orifil. I might do some cross stitch designs for them. So.
That'd be cool.
Fabulous, fabulous.
She actually gave me an online thing that I would always struggle with how to do it. But there's a person, she's in Florida, Susan. Her last name looks like Ake. I don't think it's pronounced that way.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
But she uses this. I talked to Orifil and they gave me the program. She said, I looked at it. Oh, this is doable. So
Yeah.
So I'm going to take some vintage. I'm going to start with some vintage designs from like. We have a ton of stuff. My wife's grandmother did this. So we have a ton of old Danish vintage stuff.
Oh, nice.
So I'm going to kind of combine elements and start with that.
So is a pattern just like isolated X's, and you just count how many X's it is in that
That's called
particular color?
counter-cross-stitch.
Yeah.
So that's counted cross stitch.
Yeah,
That's what that
and
means.
then it
grid,
tells you when
color
you skip. You need to skip a space,
here's
and then
yeah,
you
cool.
go with it. But there's such
Here's
a
a
wide
pattern.
variety of patterns.
That's how pattern.
So
Actually,
really-
this is a crochet pattern.
Oh, okay.
And I'm just taking it to.
So would you do all of these
Yeah,
like
Well, you depend how you do it. I'm just interpreting it my own
You know,
way,
some
so.
people would do just the white parts, and some people would do
Oh, okay.
the dark parts.
and some
This
people
is
would
a
do both?
crochet
or no?
pattern, I think.
Right.
Okay, gotcha.
It's in.
Interesting, cool.
So, what other hobbies do you have?
I used to do theater, so I used to sing a lot and play piano.
Well, I used
But
to play
I'm just self-taught though. I don't have any. I've never had any lessons or anything like that.
mine over 50 years ago, or 40 years ago. So
You could be a band.
Yeah.
No,
You
I
could
don't.
be
I
a
used to play
performance
piano,
during
did you know
Quilter's
that?
affair.
We'll try it
We
at
are
bingo.
not
We'll
Joe
see.
Cunningham. We are not Joe.
He
He's
one time
good.
came and played guitar at
He's
our
good.
house.
Joe?
Remember Joe? Yeah,
I
we
love
have it
Joe.
on
You
video.
met Joe? You should
I
meet
don't
Joe.
think
Yeah,
I've
in
met
San
Joe.
Francisco. He's in San Francisco. Yeah,
He's amazing.
yeah, he plays guitar. He came over to the house, and then he has a affinity for guitars.
Oh, yeah?
So we have a lot of
A lot of
guitars.
guitars.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So
cool.
music and
Yeah, music.
theater.
I mean, it doesn't. I don't know that I have.
Hiking.
Yeah, outdoor stuff for sure. I don't really feel like. I feel like my business has just become my whole life, and I actually have been thinking like I need a hobby.
You got to do
Well,
something.
you
Yeah,
knit,
something.
you said.
Yeah, but I don't anymore. Like I can, but I don't. You know.
Well, I stopped. I haven't
Yeah.
crossed it for years. And actually, when my eye acted up, and I had to have my face like this all the time, and I couldn't sew, I started cross stitching again. And I go, oh, I kind of like this still, although it's very slow. It's so much
I would
slower
imagine.
than quilting.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So, I want to do it again.
Okay, I think we can wrap this up. This has been fun. And so you want to be sure to pay attention to all the literature that comes out for the Quilters Affair or anywhere else in the world that you guys are teaching, because this can't be the only place, but
My main place. This is a
the
good
main place, because it's so much fun here. And it is a bucket list community and quilt shop, and the teachers are fantastic. You have to be sure to get on the mailing list and sign up right away. And don't be intimidated by the wait list, because I actually sat with Sahara today, who was on 3 wait lists and got all 3 classes. So we'll see you next time. Thank you, and thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.